3, 2, 1, jump!
Hey everyone, welcome back to Mount Schmoedown. The Schmoedown show where we go into finished careers. My name is Ben, and we have a full panel today. We have Ryan, Sean, and Allison, but the special guest star is Rachel Silvestrini. How is everyone doing today?
Good, how are you guys?
Good.
Doing fantastic. I also have the Georgia-Florida game going on my phone, so if you see me look down, that's what I'm going. Don't mind me. It's like the one game a year that I actually really like to pay attention to.
I'm really sorry, but I gotta say, since I have literally given Uga a belly rub, I gotta go Georgia. Yeah.
You actually. Oh man.
Oh yeah. First of all, no dog walks by me without at least like a forlorn look into their eye of like, I want to pet you.
Right.
But yeah, I was in Florida, or I was in Georgia, and we were doing tech for Beauty and the Beast, and on the campus and hanging out, and all of a sudden this dog walks by, and I'm just like, it's a bulldog, obviously, so I'm gonna pet it because I love that ugliness. It makes my heart happy. And I started petting it, and I didn't realize who I was talking to until somebody was like, "Oh my god, can I get a picture with Uga?" And I'm like, "Wait, this is Uga? Like this is Uga?" I'm like,
Uga.
I'm just gonna hold him and steal him, and we're gonna go on an adventure. It's fine.
Oh, I love that. So I'm so jealous. I'm gonna need you guys just to go. Rachel and I are just gonna hang, and we're gonna chat, and this is gonna be on stream. Don't even need the backup. Let's go.
No, I would love to hear more of this. Honestly, I'm just being silent because, like last time, internet likes to strike at me, like being at a bar and you all of a sudden you get into it's like Luke Skywalker in the cantina. All of a sudden, someone wants to bother him. Like, oh, you want to bother me right now? Okay, good. But it seems right now, everything's working good. The hyperdrive to my internet is not just deactivated, so I think I can hang with you guys.
Awesome.
That was so nerdy. I love it.
Yeah. I try to throw one in every now and then if it makes sense.
Nice.
But you know, but honestly, I'm definitely looking forward to this. Rachel, it's really good to see you again.
I mean, it's only been like 4 or 5 days, but yes, it's good to see you too.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. If nobody knows or at all, I was on. If people don't know or no one's ever bothered to ask me, one of the reasons why I was not on with all 3 of my lovely co-hosts when they were talking about Marisol McKee was that I was on a cruise for 4 days out from Miami to Bahamas and back, and I was fortunate and lucky to learn that Rachel was actually working on that same cruise, so we got to hang out whenever. I mean, she was working, so whenever she had free time, or whenever I wasn't trying to get, or I wasn't buzzed or busy with activities, we got at least to find some time to hang out.
Yeah, it was a blast.
So fun.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I will say, but even then, and I guess I was kind of shocked coming back. All of a sudden, Ben tells me, "Oh, we're gonna have Rachel on the show." Like, wait, what? I just saw her. I didn't know that.
Could have had you confirm. Could have had you have her sign the RSVP and send it back.
Well, that's one of the downsides on the cruise. Unfortunately, the Wi-Fi was very terrible.
Yes.
All I could do was
Ryan,
you're not supposed to be on Wi-Fi when you're on a cruise, Ryan. You're supposed to have a grand old time and read 3 books and tell everyone to F off and leave you alone, because that's what I did on my last cruise, and it was.
I did have a book with me. I read my Star Wars book posed by Kim Natsock at least nearly every time I was bored.
You were bored on that cruise? How could you be bored? Okay, so
when I couldn't get to it, when I was staying in line, I had.
Gotcha. Okay,
yeah.
Fair. Because the cruise that he's talking about is put on by Sixth Man, who is they put basically they're like fan conventions on a boat. And so he was on the Jericho cruise, which was the first cruise that we were doing back. And then right after, so Jericho docked and unloaded, and we changed out all of the branding. And then literally 3 hours later, the Coheed and Cambria cruise boarded the ship.
Oh yeah, I was seeing
which
people
is what
just leaving the the testing for the doing the
so
COVID rapid
jealous.
test
PCR,
and then getting onto the ship.
yeah, it was intense, and which is what I just came from. So I'm in Seattle for my very dear friend's wedding. I'm missing the Kiss cruise, and then I'm going back for the last 3 of the season. But they've got like so many lined up for next season, and they're super safe about the testing. So it's like coming out with.
Oh yeah, like I was telling you with what my mom does and with the risk manager in the cruise line. OSHA's not fucking around with with cruises and what they can and what they have to do. So it's probably one of the safest vacations you could probably take right now is on a cruise with the amount of precautions that there.
You're safer on the boat than you are in the airport on the way there because especially with 6-man, like you have to get a PCR test before you even get there. Like you have to do it like 3 days before, and then you get there, and then you have to do another test, and it's just insane. Like I feel so safe on that cruise.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I do, and I definitely I definitely double like what's that word? I second everything that Rachel had just said about the going on the cruise. Because especially the cruise that I went on, they told us 4 days in advance, get yourself tested, bring proof of it, and then when we're waiting, we get tested again because airports, sometimes whatever hotel you're staying in, especially when you're in Florida, where people have been they're either 80% or
where it's
not
the
wearing
wild,
masks.
Wild West, and no one gives a shit.
Exactly. Yeah, I was gonna be polite, but it's the Wild Wild West. It's literally Mos Eisley spaceport. Scum and villainy are across the whole country, across the whole state. But thankfully, when I got there, got myself tested, it looks like almost everybody that was there to get tested, everyone tested negative. So after that, it almost became our own little Wild Wild West on the cruise, like masks off, having fun, enjoying ourselves. So I do agree. Like cruises is kind of like one of the safest spots you're gonna be because not only do they not fuck around, but if you do test, even if you get a false positive, they're gonna hold you fucking somewhere until it comes back negative. And if you do test positive, we'll give you your money back. Oh, you want it in cash? Great. Here's $3,000 in cash in hand. Get the fuck out of here. Not really. No, I'm exaggerating that part.
PLD's in here. That's fun.
Hi, honey.
He is.
He's a live event wifey with a little heart. That's so sweet. Hi, PLD.
My live event husband. Hi, honey. Give our wifey a hug. I love Kim.
I love PLD.
Awesome.
What a great person.
Yeah.
I think I've only met him. I don't think I've met him briefly, but I have talked with him. And if you ever talk about someone who can definitely, watching his channel, seeing all the Star Wars stuff he talked about, I'm like, if I ever find myself doing a Star Wars team match, I'm immediately reaching for this guy to play with.
That's a good partner. I will never play Star Wars ever.
No.
No, believe me, half.
To be fair, well, let me rephrase. Like me saying no to not playing Star. I would never play in any of these divisions because I'm a dodo. So we could just rephrase all of that now. Like I'm like, okay, no, I would never play Star Wars. Like I could actually like hop into like an IG or singles or teams and be like, I would be the one that is being carried by whoever my teammate is. I'm like, let me just hop on and go for that ride. I'll be like the Yoda on your back, like all through.
That's exactly how That's exactly how I imagine myself, like with PLT as my partner. I'm either the Yoda on his back, or I am the Tauntaun carrying him, just so he can be able to shoot those sniper. Just so he can be like a sniper. Is like, okay, I got this, and I got this. I'm like, yeah, I'm just taking you with me.
Right. That's how we roll.
But then Tauntauns die, and you get cut open and you crawl.
That's me. That would be me in the third round. I'd struggle in the second. In the third round, it's just like, I'll just give you one thing, and then afterwards, all right.
Like who's taking the two? I am.
Yeah, I'll be out after that second point question, and then you just take us home. You take us home.
The only time you open your mouth. That would be amazing.
I did get 2 questions right though in the Nikki Damon and the Dimolanta Damon match though this week.
Yeah.
They were 2 very easy questions, but I did get 2 of them right. I got the maybe made up, but I got the whole like the one about giving them her ring. But I just when I said it out loud, I was like, oh, it was a ring. But everyone's like, oh, the resistance ring. I'm like, fuck it, it's a ring. Like just
Yeah.
come on. And then the Yoda quote with Twilight in it. That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got. It's fine.
They are so damn specific in that division. I could never hang in there.
No, but it makes it really fun to help, like, because we all, everybody in the den helps Thomas study, and like it will literally take me like 6 hours to go through one movie and like stop and be like, okay, like I'll write a question and like try and make it super hard, but then there are some things that I'm like legitimate curious about that I'm like, wait, what's this in this scene? What is this? And I'll like stop our study sessions and be like, what is this? And he's like, I don't know. That's a good question. And then like we start studying. I'm like, yes, they came up with something he didn't know.
Have you ever asked a question or had anybody ever asked who is that wolf creature in episode 4 in the cantina? There's like a guy with a werewolf hat.
Really? I think that was one of the questions asked during, I think Damon or like the Damon Demolanta 2 match, the rematch for the belt. Like this bat-like creature is in the cantina. I'm going, who are they talking about? And I just remember going on every Star Wars database trying to look for a picture of the guy they mean. I'm going, that guy.
At some point,
well, like Sean just made a good point in the chat too, that like a 2 and 4 is an admirable average for like 2 out of 4 for like Star Wars, because they are getting. And not that, Rachel, I probably like your opinion on this with watching some of the stuff lately with some of these questions going. And if PLD's still here, I'm still calling him out to like get it to figure it out for us. They're getting into like uncredited characters and actors like in films and movies, and it's like, what's in the rule book then with that? Because I thought like the whole point was like theatrical release plus like I've never seen them reaching for like uncredited before.
I think
like get into it though.
Yeah, I think Star Wars kind of has their own rules that they play with, because there is a like as great and massive of a world that Star Wars is, there is a finite amount of questions that they can ask. And I feel like at this point, like both the FCL and the MTS are like reaching in real deep and like scraping the bottom of that barrel and being like I think we're going to get to the point where they're just going to put like a scene still and be like, who's this?
Yes.
Like
they're going to do something. Yeah. Cause you're right. There's only so much you can do, because it's movie trivia Schmoedown, right? Like it's not like going to the Dragon Con Star Wars tournament and having them asking things from also all the different books and whatnot, because it blows my mind. But then even like the stuff that they pull that's technically in the movies, I'm like, when do they say that? Like, what do you have to study to like exactly? You just have to know it.
You'll have to do like fun fact stuff. Like a couple of weeks ago, before new Star Wars champion Brendan Marr was training FCL, his match against James Shimo, I was helping James train. I came across this fun fact about Wedge, and I'm going like the actor Dennis Lawson who played him. Technically, there was a different actor who played him in the debriefing scene on Yavin 4. I'm like, wait,
that's a really good question.
I really looked at it, and one of the characters who Luke responds to, that's not impossible. I used to bullseye Womp Rats in my T-16. Yeah. Apparently, that rebel pilot was supposed to be Wedge. And I guess they just didn't change that.
I love Sean in the chat. The rule book is more of a guideline. I mean,
are you getting all Barbosa on us, Sean? I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, and that is a reason why I will never, ever step foot or toe or even think about going to the Star Wars division. Now, I've been really proud of myself that like since helping Thomas train, I have averaged a double-digit score in Star Wars.
Nice.
But I'm talking like
for you.
I'm like 10, 11. One time I got 16 points and I was like, I'm the champion. Because
give me the belt, Harper. Let's go. Throw that one over me. By the way,
so
speaking
great.
of Harper, I'm just gonna, because both the thing on the den, what a gem of a human being Harper is.
Right? He's like obnoxiously wonderful. He like, is Captain America.
in New York, and I've told these guys the story too. I just walked up. I was walking out to go grab a drink, and he was standing there with the belt. I'm like, "Oh, that's what a belt looks like in the wild." And he went, "Yep," and he just threw it over my shoulder. And I'm like, "What do I do with this now? Like, just like
take a photo."
Yeah.
I was like, I go, and I get to take. I was like, and now I have to take a photo because it's my first live event, and I'm holding a belt. And he goes, "Okay," so we're looking around to find someone to take the photo, and like Christian's standing there, and he's like, "Here, I'll take your photo for you." And I'm like, and I get the commissioner to take my photo. Why haven't I done this sooner? Like, I feel like this is just, everyone's just falling at my feet. This is fantastic. Wait, I'm going to come around.
You're going to be
all
a spectacular, Allison? Are you going to be spectacular?
I'm not.
No, sad.
I was going to say, because if you were, I was at Spectacular when they were doing that fan little meet and greet. Believe
the fan
me.
expo.
Yeah, the fan expo. Trust me, if you were going to go there, that fan expo would be just like your experience in New York, but
I
double.
know. We were, but
triple.
prior to us going to the live event, we had and like me diving so head first all the way into the deep end with Schmoedown a few months ago. We had already planned a trip, a little family friends trip out to Texas, literally that same weekend. So I'm a little bummed, but I'm making it top priority to definitely go next year for sure. Cause I feel like I have to now at this point. It's
the best.
Trust me.
Because everybody's there and everybody shows up. Like, I'm so excited for it.
It'll be so much fun.
That is definitely something I'm looking forward to next year. Just live events or just like live. Even if Christian does more like what he did at Scum and Villainy just for live tapings to bring fans to, that's going to be a great experience. And going into Schmoedown and talking about, I mean, you helping Thomas Harper, I will say, Rachel, one of the biggest crimes I have said, and Ben has heard me say this, was the fact you didn't get to play. You played only one match this year. One match, and I hated the pairing that you went up against, going up against Paige. I said this to Ben, like, give me anyone else to put Rachel up against instead of Paige. Not because I didn't want you to lose. It's just I wanted to see an opportunity for you to play against some of the other rookies to you, and at the same time going like, this is just not fair. I mean, you should at least have an opportunity to play like Rick Radis, or have you go up against Frankie, someone else that you would have a great match going up against. Not to say your match against Paige wasn't great.
No, it was. I think it was my best match that I've ever had, like as a competitor, like the most competitive it was. Now I'm speaking like Yoda. But I mean, if you look back in like my singles career only, I've lost to Preston when he first started, which was a completely different player than Preston now. I lost my second match was against Roca, and who I took to the 5-pointer.
Yeah, you were so close. I'm like, miss Roca, miss.
Oh, as soon as
I feel like I say that about Roca every match that I ever watched him play. Miss Roca.
I know. I'm like, put your 6 guns away, Roca. Let someone else walk into the sunset.
Yeah, it was such a great match. But like like I'm really glad that like I got to play Roca, because like I was a big, like before I joined the Schmoedown, I was a big fan of his. Like I loved his character work. I was a huge fan of his podcasts and stuff. So there's Peggy. Hi, sweet girl.
Hi, Peggy.
Hello, Peggy.
But you know, it was such a great thing. Like we were friends for like 2 years beforehand. He was giving me advice on how to compete and how to study and like not take it too seriously. And so it was a really big honor for me to actually get to play him. The funny part was I found out that I was playing him immediately after leaving the studio after my loss to Paul. And I was like, I was running on like maybe 5 hours, 6 or 7 hours of sleep in the last like 4 days. Like work was insane. I was exhausted. I think that if I had gone into that match like rested, that I like rewatching that match against Paul, like I did pretty well. I fumbled on a few things that I should have known, and I would have known had I been like rested and like a human being. Yeah. But like I did really well. So I remember leaving the studio and Harloff coming up and being like, so I got a spot for you in the singles tournament if you want it. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great, of course. And he goes, great, you're playing Roca. And I was like, fuck you. I was like, yeah, shit.
That's
all
a
right.
great opportunity.
It's like a backhanded compliment.
Yeah. By the way, after your first loss or after your first match in the singles division that you lost, you're going up against the like 3-time former champ. I'm like, yeah, that scans. And then I lost to Liz, who is on fire. Like Liz is an amazing competitor. I think that was my worst match I ever had. Like I just got in my own way. I should have stuck with Nora Ephron. I never should have spun away. But I was feeling cocky because.
But at the same time, you're not kind of wrong to spin away from Nora Ephron. You weren't wrong. From what I've been rewatching your matches, but also the consistent endless matches I've rewatched, there are times where when you spin a slice, sometimes a new one, even though, yeah, you may get some basic questions, but on someone like Nora Ephron, or I should say with the new slice of Rob Rodriguez, sometimes you just may get thrown a question from a movie that you just haven't rewatched yet. And so, yes, that does lead into second guessing, but at the same time, but also it is kind of a smart strategic way to spin away from it. I know when we had Kate on here, she talked about, she did bring up the whole Festival Darlings thing when she had Tom and Paul. And I'm one of the few minority out there that actually defends them for sticking with Festival Darlings, because there are so many Schmoedown matches where the strength of wherever your strength is can bite you in the ass. And I thought that would have been smart. You take the slice that they could have, you give them a slice that they probably may have wanted, they lose points, and then then the game's yours.
Well, the issue with that slice, the issue with the whole Festival Darlings thing is that it was an opponent's choice that they decided to give them, and that was their strength. And Kate and I have talked about this. I was literally sitting 2 feet away from her, and I was literally getting out of my chair to be like, do not give them Festival Darlings right before, like literally like seconds before they called for Festival Darlings and like confirmed it. So it was one of those like,
well, it's like it's the same thing that Jeff Snyder did in his match against Chance Ellison, where Chance gets opponent's choice and then he gives him Wizarding World, and it takes it off the wheel for him, but you just gave this guy 12 points. You know, like or even if you knock him down, you know, to a multiple choice, but you just gave the guy who's IG, who's clearly the only reason Wizarding World is on a singles wheel, is because it's an IG slice that a IG competitor would put on. You know, like you got to think. And then in your case too, spinning away from Nora Ephron, it's one of it really. I feel like with the whole wheel round in general, just from what I've been watching, it's always a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing, right? Because let's say you stuck with Nora Ephron and you bombed it, right? Everyone's like, well, she should have spun away from Nora Ephron, but then it's also like you get you spin away, you get 2010, you end up crushing it. It's like it's someone's always going to have something shitty to say. So it's almost like you just got to do what you think is best for you to do in that moment, regardless.
But see, that's the thing, is I didn't do what was best for me in that moment, because I had been studying Nora Ephron. I know Nora Ephron. Like, as a female who grew up in the 90s, I know Nora Ephron. And so I was literally just being like, no, I'm going for Kevin Smith. Like, I want to show off. And that's stupid. Like you look at the wheel, look at the rest of it. Like, and then I got, shafted by, was it 2010s? Yeah. So, you live and learn. And then I got to play Paige, which was amazing. I knew all of her Tarantino questions because I love Tarantino. And so like literally every question she had, I was like, I know this one too. But yeah, it was a great match. I mean, I wish I would have gotten to play teams. I do miss having Goddard as my partner. Like we were 2-1. Like we were a winning team. And so for us to be broken up, like it kind of broke my heart a little bit. But we're going into a new season. It's going to be nuts. I have some inside info of like things that the strings that are going to be pulled and surprises for you guys. And I'm telling you, we're slowly getting back to like season 7 when like storylines were ridiculous and like outlandish and fun, along with the trivia. So it's going to be a blast.
Yeah, as someone who's a baby of digital, I'm excited to like get a more immersive experience without having to binge all 8 seasons. Like, don't mind. Like, I'll go back and watch them. I don't mind. I have done it. I did it for today. But it's like, as like a baby of digital, it's like, okay, like it's not bothered me, but hearing and talking to everyone else about like what Schmoedown kind of started as and what it should be and how it was and how that kind of got away from it because of digital. I'm excited to kind of get the more immersive experience and like the more schmo, like the storylines, as you say, like getting to see like seeing that kind of play out at the live event with Chandru coming in making an absurd claim with Kaluuya's music. And
I never thought I'd say this, but I love that kid so much. He's like
he's great. He's still in the heel game. He's just like, you love to hate him, and that's why I think it's so fantastic.
Yeah,
that's definitely one of the positives I do see. Like, I agree definitely with your sentiment, Allison, but also I'm one of those people who are stick in the mud that just say, look, yeah, digital may have not worked out, but we got so much good stuff. I mean, Chandru, for Christ's sake, he freaking exploded during the digital era. I mean, every time you see him on screen, you're like, why are you dressed like that? Even though deep down you realize you do the same thing. I dress as Batman, I dress as Robin, or at the event when he went against Mike. Yeah, I kind of want to dress as Harley Quinn and just start dancing across the floor. You just hate how he's being so smug about it.
Like the guy out heels Kalinowski in that IG title match.
I think they're just two very different versions of heels. And I want to go back to something that Ryan said. I don't think the digital era was like lacking in anything. I think the Schmoedown is ice cream. Ice cream is good no matter what. But the digital era was just ice cream. Prior to, it was ice cream with like nuts and fudge and whipped cream and cherries, and it was amazing. But that doesn't take away from like the fact that ice cream on its own is still delicious, you know?
Right.
Like, we still got so much content out of this digital age, and like we've learned a lot. We've met some really great characters. We met some really great players. Like, we're starting to evolve, and I'm really excited to see how next season goes, especially with what's going on in the FCL. Like, that's going to be a blast to keep track of.
Yeah. Definitely loving what they're doing in the FCL. And I really do love that one of the positives of digital was like them really exploring Twitch. I mean, I definitely love seeing the Star Wars tournament on Twitch. And I love whenever I have time to get to listen to SEN when they're on Twitch, and especially with the FCL. Like, if Christian wants to go back to studio for the regular show, great. We still have the FCL for digital, and we can still keep having lots more fun. And you do see that they are doing a balance of storyline and characters and Schmoedown play. So for those fans who are claiming, we want the storylines back, well, go to FCL, download yourself a Twitch, create yourself a profile, and you will get that.
Yeah.
That's old man.
What
was that?
I said, Ryan, what kind of voice did you make? I didn't. Never mind.
The voice. Oh, my little voice. I wasn't trying to mock like people like the community who are trying to be all negative or so. My voice. I was kind of trying to do Vince McMahon-esque voice, but I think my voice is still recovering from the cruise, so it's not there yet. So it sounds like I gurgle. It sounds like I'm gurgling water.
That's why I was like, I posted. I was like, come listen to my post-cruise voice. It's real sexy. Like, literally, I think it was the last night of the Coheed cruise. I was walking around with my signature Jameson and ginger ale, and then like a cup, like think red Solo cup, like 2/3 full with just pickle juice, because that heals your throat. It's so good for you. It like helps with electrolytes. And I started sounding better. And then like the last day, I was working like 6 hours before I hopped on my flight, and I was like, oh, awesome, it's back.
Yeah. There it is. Good
there
times.
It is. I found it.
I'm like, I thought I got rid of you.
Yeah, I call this my smelly cat voice because I feel like I'm Phoebe from Friends.
I think it's your party voice, Rachel, and it shows just how much fun you probably are. Or I think you are.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I will be leading some karaoke's on the boat from now on, so it's going to be real fun.
I love a good karaoke. If you what's your karaoke song of choice, Rachel?
It depends if I'm trying to. It depends on the crowd. It depends on the event, and it depends on whether I want to sing or have fun. So if I want to sing, I don't sing ever at all. Unless I've got like a few drinks in me, and then I'm like, I'm gonna sing this and pretend I'm Whitney Houston. But I love doing Double Went Down to Georgia. I think it's super fun.
It's a good one.
That is always a popular favorite. I've loved seeing people like karaoke, even I'm trying to make their own dance to it, which is incredible.
It's so much fun. It's amazing. I mean, any old school like Britney, because she's got a lower range, so I can definitely, oh baby, like I will hit that at low. I'll try. But was it the last night, 2 nights ago, on last night of the Coheed and Cambria cruise, they got all of the 6-man crew on stage to sing "I'm on a Boat, Motherfucker," and I was like, "This is my jam!"
Yeah.
Nice.
It was so much fun. But yeah, I think I'm leading. I think I'm doing a karaoke for the Rock Boat cruise, and that'll be super fun.
Oh, Rock Boat. I wanted to go on that so bad. I'm a big Stephen Kellogg fan, and I love like Sister Hayes. I love Stephen Kellogg. And I love that there's someone who knows who he is as I say this right now.
Yes.
And again, it's just like this is the Rachel and Allison hour. So we'll see you guys later as we have these.
Oh my gosh.
I love figuring out what people's Kaylee in here says that she's so ready for Zoe's Extraordinary Christmas.
Girl, as soon as we get the date for that, I'm really hoping it's going to happen like right around Spectacular, because Maxwell Haddad is going to be out in LA for Spectacular, and he's one of my co-hosts for the Zoe's Extraordinary Rewind that we do.
My goodness.
And so I'm hoping we can, and I think Lindsay's still going to join us, but I'm like, if we could do this live in person, it would be so much fun. And it's just going to be great. Leo's, what's your favorite moment?
Your favorite?
Oh,
he's asking your favorite moment. His moment. He's pretty much asking a question, and he's pretty much saying his favorite moment is after you guys lose. I believe to when you get that KO loss, you pretty much just rip Devon apart.
So that was the plan. It was like with teams back in the day, it was like 3 losses and you're done. Like if it's pretty succinct, like really close together. And so we won. Who did we beat?
You beat, I believe, the movie guys. Actually, yeah,
we beat the movie guys, which was
because
hilarious.
that was their team debut match, and this was fresh off of you losing to Corruption, and you had that fun thing when you came with their music and then just broke into
Walking on the Sunshine. I think that was my favorite entrance for sure. I do really love my my hungover Kellerman's camp counselor. That was fun. But no, God. So Christian had said basically like, if you lose to Who's the Boss, then you guys have to break up, and you kind of have to turn heel a little bit and like just kind of rip Devon apart. And so Devon had no idea about this before the match.
Oh my
God. He reacted that much better.
So we're literally standing behind the curtain as they're like doing the intro. And I'm like, oh, by the way, I don't know if Christian told you, but if we lose, we have to break up and I have to like yell at you. And he goes, what do you have to yell at me about? And I'm like, basically that my back hurts from carrying you, and like just play up all this stuff that like you don't really know. You're not really here for trivia. You're just here for like to put on a show, and I'm being serious about it. And he goes, well, I mean, it's all true. I'm like, oh, sweetie. I'm like, I don't like yelling at people and having people think that I'm actually mad at someone unless I'm legitimately pissed off. Yeah. And I love Devon. He's so great. And so when that happened, but like the thing is, he kept trying to like make amends while I was yelling at him. And I'm like, stop it. Like, just act hurt, like cry, bitch. But that was super fun. I think my favorite moment was walking out for the free-for-all and having fans get the joke. Yeah. Because the free-for-all happened like about a month or 2 after my Andre 2000. And so I came out to Heya and I wore an Andre 3000 t-shirt. And I had fans coming up, they're like, that's hilarious. I'm like, I'm really glad you got the joke. It made me smile. So that's all that matters to me. But people came up and they said that they loved it. So that was, plus, you know, I got to play at a table with Bibbs, Meyer, and Cushing. Like,
what a stacked group,
right?
Yes.
I literally was like, and that happened like a few like 6 months after I lost to the Outlaw to Roca, and I was like, I got my number and I just replied to Harloff and I'm like, did I piss you off? Like. Like what?
Do I like buy you flowers? Like,
do you not like? Candy? Did I shit in your car? Like, I'm so sorry. Like, what did I do?
And then I find out a voicemail talking shit that I didn't realize I did one night. Like,
right.
And then little do you know, you find out that Brendan, Rachel, and Bibbs got the same. We're almost as worse numbers as you did, and you're like, wait, what? Now, and then you see Bibbs come out like, Christian, did I seriously piss you off? What the hell?
Like it was like it was one of those things that like we're not supposed to. We're like they want the order to be completely a surprise. Like in addition to like the other players, like they don't want anybody to know who's up next. But we talk. We have a few drinks and we talked. And I found out that Rachel Cushing and I had been given the same number. And I was like, oh, he's like, and Christian's like, yeah, I'll give you another number because like Rachel wanted to go in the first few rounds because like she had plans that night or something. And so I'm like, great, I'm gonna get a better number. And then he comes back, like we both got 5, and he came back and he's like, okay, you're 2. And I'm like, 20.
Yeah, I was
like, what's
22?
the number after that? Like 20, 26, 20, 29? He's like, no, just 2. And I'm like, I really pissed you off, didn't I? What did I
Is
do?
he expecting you to give a Rey Mysterio run to where you go from number 2 and you win towards the end?
I mean, yeah, just me and Bibbs at the table all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but it was fun, and like it's just one of those things that like you just have to laugh. And I had a great time. I was the first one out. I wish I had switched spots with Devon though, because I knew all of his answers. Like he got a Mallrats question, guys.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm standing on the side of the stage being like, no.
I do remember like I do love the fact that with when you came up to Andre 3000, I do love the fact that you were willing to laugh at the slip up you made. Where we've seen in the past where so many people like that was your slip up was the same year where we had the David O'Russell controversy, and I'm just like, guys, yeah, it's a unfortunate typo miss. It was a mistake, and then I just remember the last 2 months of the year, the community was just up in arms about it. I just go, guys, at the end of the day, it happened. Just move on. And then, going to Spectacular. Love the fact that you're like, yeah, I slipped on a question. Guess what? I'm coming out to his music, bitch.
Here's the thing, though, is I didn't.
I love
slip.
that.
They had literally said the number 2 because it was in the category of the 2000s, and they say 2000 like 3 times before they finish answering or before they finish asking the question. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, it's like I know it's Andre 3000, but I just heard 2000 over and over again, and my brain was just like, it's 2000, right? And I literally, if you rewatch it, I just sit there being like,
sabotage.
No, I literally sit there and I'm like, wait, I got it right. Like that's a right answer. And everyone's like, it's Andre 3000. And I'm like, wait, did I say 2? Like you can see like the crap, like a realization happen on my face. Yeah,
that's heartbreaking.
It is, but it's also like
you just troll everyone right back. So like people want to like use it against your like talk shit. You're just like, fuck it, I'll come out to hang out with an Andre 3000 t-shirt. F you, yeah. I got this. Love that. I love it. Yeah, I love to troll the trolls. That's the best way to go. I like to troll PLD. He's the biggest troll of them all.
Oh, I love that so much.
Well, in between him and Jake's little love affair / feud.
Yeah. But there was, I mean, everybody talks about like, you know, you're never supposed to read the comments on your matches. Like, just don't go into that.
Yeah.
Obviously, like when you're new, you just kind of like want to check and kind of see, like kind of gauge like how you're being received and like people's opinions of you. And so I went in one time, I can't remember which match it was. I'm scrolling. I'm like decently good things. Some people are like, yeah, some of her first few matches, like we'll see how she does in the next few months. And then I get to one and it says Rachel has a mom bod. And immediately underneath, like literally the timestamp is like 2 minutes later, somebody else came back before me and said, your mom has a mom bod. And I'm like, I can't top that. That's like the best comments I will probably ever have. But
that's fantastic.
And literally that's when I stopped reading my comments because I'm like, nothing gets better than that.
No, especially someone coming in with the other your mom, right? That's great.
Oh yeah,
what a gem of a person that one is.
No,
I hope one day that person comes up to you and be like, "Hey, not like." I hope like they watch this and they hear you tell that story.
Oh my god!
And then that person comes up to you like just randomly like, "Hey, I was the one who made that who defended you and said your mom has a mom. I'm the your mom has a mom bod guy." And like forever friends are made.
Guys, if you are that person, please pull. And if you're that person and you're coming to Spectacular, please come introduce yourself because it saddened my heart that like there's like a chat on the Facebook page saying about people who have met me and like how sweet I am, and I'm like, okay, stop. Like I can't handle that much love. But then like somebody's like, I've seen you. Oh, it was Thrawn. Thrawn commented something about like, yeah, every time I see her, I'm like, I would chicken out of going and introducing myself. And I'm like, am I that scary? I'm like, guys, I'm big and boisterous.
I think
like,
it's
this
just
is
like
all love.
I think it was just kind of like the fire flight moment, because one experience I did have of when I went to the Fan Expo for the Spectacular, there were so many people lined up. I wanted to just go up, shake the hands of everybody there, but there were moments where I'm literally frozen. Like I was seeing Kate Mulligan talking with so many fans. I wanted to jump in there, but I'm like, I was having that double Dutch moment. And I did the same thing with Mark Andraco, Roxy Stryer. I mean, the only few people I actually had some good conversations with was Video Drew, Janine, only for 2 to 3 minutes. And then I spent the whole rest of the Fan Expo just walking the floor like I'm at a Comic-Con, just like, ooh, I'm like you're literally stuck in your own head.
Yeah. I'm telling you though, like if you are like that, or if you are at the event and your friend is like that, do what you can, take them out of it, like bring them up to the person, make introductions. Everyone is there to like hang out and say hi. Like, we love you guys. Like, you guys are like such a big part of why we come back year after year. Like, we're not doing this for the money, guys, at all. Like, we're here because we have fun, and part of that fun is getting to be and interact with you guys. So please don't be afraid of me.
Well, I'm not scared of you, Rachel. I adore you.
Yes.
You're the best.
Allison loves me. Yeah, it's
searching
amazing.
for those follows, guys. That's all it is. I'm just saying. People that follow me on Twitter. So like, I'm just trying to like pump up my game here. I'm just going to throw it out there. There's no, I'm just kidding.
Fair enough. No shame.
But
No
also,
shame.
if you want to throw the follow in there, it's fine.
I personally don't give a shit about my social media.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person, like, I don't care about my social media, but I'm still willing to hang and have a fucking beer with you if you have the time. And then afterward, I'll be like, oh, this is awesome. And then someone contacts me on social media, like, dude, why didn't you follow me back? Like, I literally treat my social media like a cat. Like, I'll give it affection when it wants it, and when not, I'll leave it alone.
Yeah, I'm barely on social media, but after the Jericho cruise, I think I had like, somehow I got like really good reception for like 5 minutes when I was like out on the Great Outdoors area on deck 12. And I found
maybe because there's barely anybody there.
And like one of the wrestlers from the cruise, Ryan Nemeth.
Oh yeah, Ryan Nemeth. Yeah.
Oh, my baby. I love him. He's so sweet and wonderful and beautiful. And he went live on his Instagram, and I put in a comment that I was like, I miss you guys. You know, you were all like, you guys were always so much fun, and like, it's just not the same without you here. And like, Ryan sees it and he goes, Rachel! And I'm like, like, that's exactly the reaction I wanted. Yeah, I love that guy. And
that's the reaction I want whenever I walk into a room too. That's why people are like, it's Allison. I'm like, yes.
Oh my God. My favorite greeting when I would surprise bands that I was friends with and like go see them, because like as I toured and they toured, like you can never really tell when I'd pop up. And so like I would show up at a show, and my favorite greeting is, what the fuck are you doing here? Here to harass you.
Yeah. That's like, what, I can't have a good time either? Yeah, I didn't expect to see you here.
Yeah. Or like literally somebody walked into their green room and I was just sitting there like drinking one of their beers, and I was like, what's up? They're like, what?
My love language is words of affirmation. So like the more people are excited to like see me and tell me nice things about me, the more that I'm just like,
give me tacos and tell me I'm pretty.
More.
Yes, look, I've told my husband before we even got married, I'm like, there's 3 things you're gonna need in life to keep me happy and it could be, and really you could do 2 of 3 and I'm good with it, but you give me some white wine, preferably Pinot Grigio, some pizza, and just tell me I'm pretty, and I'm good. Like, and 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Like, whatever you want to do, like, I'll take any of it, but like, real easy. Like, it's real easy. And now here we are.
Yeah.
4 years married, 10 years together. So he does all right with that.
Gross.
Oh, man.
I got to drag him to New York. It's so funny because he's the reason I even know Schmoedown exists, because he was like he was more of a casual watcher, and I just popped in on like an episode he was watching one time. And then because of that, I'm like, and now we're going to, I was like, I don't know if you know this, honey, but we're going to New York for the live event. And he was like, okay. I'm like, and I have all these friends now, and this is what
And
I'm
you're
doing.
gonna get to meet everybody, and we're gonna stay out
And I'm
till
gonna meet
4
everyone,
o'clock in
and
the
we're gonna have the
morning
best
all
time.
night. Oh my god.
I was like, I got people saving seats for us inside because we just did the VIP one where we got the Q&A afterwards. We got to go into, so we had other friends who did the other one where they got to like
the general,
yeah. So like Nikki and Monty were there. They saved a seat for my husband and I, so we could like be right up front for all the action. And it was just, so I'm like, so he's so funny because here I am doing like, I'll sit in on, because I'm in the Patreon for Bateman, so I'll sit in on these study sessions and whatnot. I've met all these incredible people through them and like the action army people and everything. So when I was like, just so you know, honey, we're gonna go and we're gonna have fun because we both love Griffin Newman. But now I have all these friends that you have to meet, and you're going to have a good time.
I mean, I don't think I've ever seen somebody at a Schmoedown live event who wasn't happy at the end of it. You know,
Right.
like some people might be a little hesitant, but like at the end of it, you're having fun. It could, because when you boil it down, this shit is ridiculous. Like, it's so stupid and so insane, but it's so much fun.
Yeah. Like every day I go into every time I'm always checking the Facebook group, and I always see these these interesting, like sometimes it'll just be a simple caption question, and then all of a sudden I'll see it devolve into these hot arguments I'd come across if I was on a Star Wars fandom page or watching people talking about Squid Games or any other popular TV show. And I go, guys, this is movie trivia. We're literally just fanboying over something that's even fanboying about the movies and TV shows we love.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath.
To be fair, Fanboys is my favorite Star Wars movie.
I do love that. Yeah, I do love Jay Baruchel's performance, and Kristen Bell. Kristen Bell kills me every single time.
I love that.
Standoff at George Lucas's mansion is still hilarious.
There's something so pure and so sweet about it. And I may or may not have fallen in love with all of 4 of the boys. Like literally that movie started my love affair for Dan Fogler, because oh my god,
he's the best.
Balls of Fury was that.
Do you watch him? Do you watch him on the Goldbergs whenever he pops in on like the Thanksgiving episode?
Oh my god, yes,
it's the best. It's
like he popped in, and I was like, Dan.
When I saw him on Walking, I was losing interest in Walking Dead until all of a sudden I see him. I'm like, okay, I am back in now that he is there. And
he's on Walking Dead, really?
Wow. Yeah, no, I didn't know that.
Dan Fogler, he plays oh my god, I'm forgetting his character name, but his character, he's a music teacher in a past life, and he's really one of the light moments of comedy in that show.
Well, it's Dan. I mean, as much as I would love to see him in like a very strict, like dramatic role, he's so funny. His comedic timing is so perfect.
He's amazing about those Harry Potter spin-offs.
The Fantastic Beasts, 100%. Him and Queenie, I'm like, oh. Like
I love them so much.
In the second one, when she leaves him, I'm like tearing up. I'm like, no!
Oh my god, damn it, JK! You just had to take a good thing from us.
I know. Well, I mean, JK is a piece of shit, so you know.
Yeah,
exactly.
But even
that's what's so frustrating. I love Harry. It's like you have this love, and like, can I still love Harry Potter and like what it is, but also think that she's a horrible fucking person and still like feel like I'm a good person?
It's like still being able to love American Beauty and like understanding that Kevin Spacey is a walking pile of human garbage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or whenever I have to, I mean, I think another example, Bryan Singer. Yeah, he is an absolute piece of shit, but I can at least still enjoy The Usual Suspects and X-Men and X-Men Days of Future Past.
See, and The Usual Suspects, we'll throw this out there, hot take, still haven't seen it. And I've been wanting to, and then all the Kevin Spacey things happened with it, and I'm like, oh, it's not like I feel like I need to watch it, but it's like I feel like I should have watched it sooner.
Okay, but
the funny thing is that oh, go ahead, Ben. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Ben.
I'm gonna be honest. I just watched it for the first time this like a month or two ago. For me personally, it was a little hard to get through. That whole situation.
Well, here's a question for both of you then. Ben, did you have the twist spoiled for you? And Allison, have you heard the twist?
I know that there is a twist, so I also know that the entire time I'm going to be watching this movie going like, what's the fucking twist?
Guys,
like,
if if anyone ruins this for Allison, I will live up to my nickname. I will come find you with a switchblade. Like, please. Do not.
I mean,
it's like finding somebody.
I got wrestling belts behind me. I'm ready to get physical if somebody ruins that twist for her.
Yeah, wow.
It's like meeting somebody who doesn't know that Vader is the Skywalker's father. Like, you know, like that was such a huge reveal. But like,
unless you're
that could have gone my entire
perfect.
life, and not having that ruined for me is beyond me. But you know what? I'm gonna keep going with it.
Unless you're Anna Kendrick in Pitch Perfect, who just figured it out because of the name. I'm like, yeah, okay,
Vader,
good for you. Don't ruin it
Vader
for everyone
in German
else.
means father. His name literally means Darth Father. I love that movie so much. Oh,
I do too.
But seriously,
so
I mean, Allison, you're really not alone. I have actually met people who have heard of the most famous movies that have like the famous twists, and they've never even watched them or heard of them. I'm like, okay, good. Whatever hole or igloo or society you lived in, tell me where that exists, so I don't have to have everything spoiled.
Yet I would get Game of Thrones spoilers every other week when I couldn't watch it on there, but still don't know what happens in The Usual Suspects. At least I got that going for me.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, that's a little bit more magical than Game of Thrones twists. Just saying.
I will bite the bullet and get over this, because it's like he's not getting my money by me watching a movie that I already own, because he's already gotten the money at this point. Yeah. But it's like, just
think of it this way. There are other actors worth watching in that movie.
There's a Baldwin in that movie, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yep. Stephen Baldwin.
Yeah. Stephen?
I
always confuse Stephen and Billy. Always.
I think it's Stephen. It's Stephen, because I think I remember him from, because my other favorite Stephen Baldwin movie is obviously Biodome with him and Pauly Shore. So
yeah, it's like
so perfect.
Billy, you need to start noticing the facial differences between the two of them in order to tell them apart.
How many Baldwins are there? Are there 3 or are there
There's
4?
4 Baldwins.
Alec, William, which is Billy, and Stephen, and
there's a 4th. I know there's a 4th.
I know it's not Adam Baldwin, Jane from
Ringo.
Firefly. He's not related.
Ringo. Paul, John, and Ringo. Name that movie.
Oh Jesus, I'm thinking of Dewey Cox for a second for the wall. That's not. I know it's like. Thank you, Leo. Daniel Baldwin. Thank you very much, Leo.
Okay, I was literally just looking at Baldwin brothers.
No, seriously. If you find Leo Logan in a chat, trust me, he will shoot you an answer that you are stuck on.
Oh, I know.
Mean, and I give him all the props for that.
To kind of pull this back in, I know we've been here for like an hour, but to kind of pull it back into a little bit more strong, because we talked about like your match and everything, but like, I guess for me, seeing as I'm still new, like, how did you even kind of get into all of it and like become a part of it?
I literally, pure luck. It was pure luck that I hadn't heard about this before. I went to WonderCon in 2017 in Anaheim, and I was prepping for it and looking at the next day's schedule, and all I see is like a panel for Schmoedown, and I'm like, what the fuck is a Schmoedown? And like the first sentence of the description was like, and I read it in this voice: what would you imagine of movie trivia with the competitiveness of UFC and the theatrics of WWE? And I was like, tell me everything.
Tell me more.
Yeah. So I ended up showing up a little bit late, because I was like, there's not going to be anybody in here. It was in the big ballroom, one of the 2 biggest ballrooms. It was packed nuts to butts. And so, because I was just me by myself, I literally just walked down the center aisle, turned around, and right in the front row were 3 empty seats with only 2 of them with purses on it. So I literally sat down in the front row, sitting next to Wendy Lee Zaney and Grace Hancock. And then Christian came on and like introduced and like basically broke down the season that just happened, kind of said what was coming up. Meanwhile, I'm being me and making jokes under my breath that apparently are making Wendy and Grace like cackle like nobody's business, to the point where like Harloff kind of looks down and he's like, shh, stop. And I'm like, sorry. And
that's what you got 2 for free for all, clearly.
Basically, yeah, obviously, because I'm a troublemaker. And then they start introducing everybody, and like the lights dim, and like everybody's cheering, and I'm like, what is this? Like, what? This is amazing. And then they did a speed round on the table. There was like 40 or so guests, like competitors that were like there at the table. So they were doing a speed round and they asked a Disney question, obviously, that I knew that nobody else did. And I'm sitting there like this throughout the entire thing, like while they're asking. If I got the question right, I would just point to my nose. So like they asked the Disney question, I'm like, I know this one. And so they asked me for the answer. I got it right. Makuga was sitting like 6 feet in front of me and he was like, you've known all these answers. I'm like, yeah. He goes, let's talk later. So afterwards, Makuga introduced me to Harloff. And this was right around the time when they were really looking for female competitors. And so I was like, he's like, are you interested in playing? I'm like, yeah, I'm on tour right now with An American in Paris. So I'm not going to be back in LA and for I'm moving back to LA in like 16, 18 months. So I'll stay in contact and, we'll figure it out. And then I lightly stalked everyone that was involved in the Schmoedown through Twitter and Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Came to a few tapings and literally after I moved to LA, I spent like a month going to tapings and Christian came up to me one day and was like, so you about ready? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, great. I want to put you in the teams tournament. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like that's all right. And then I got Devon and Inky and the Brain happened. And, it was all downhill from there. And I say downhill because it was amazing and fun. Like, when you run downhill and like your feet can't go faster than your body. And
the momentum is just carrying you forward. Yeah.
I feel like that was the Schmoedown is I started running and then I kept going faster than I could run. And it's just, I'm now at the bottom of the hill, just like gasping for breath and laughing, hoping I didn't break anything.
That's awesome. That's so fun. This is what I like about being a part of this group and doing these shows is like getting to hear like what brought you in, because I think that's such a cool aspect of it. Like, is it because like I think Video Juice is like I was working at Collider and this is where they brought me in for that match against Brendan Meyer, who still looks the same now as he did back when he first started. Like he's a vampire. I don't think he aged. I think that's true.
No, he has the Paul Rudd. He has the Paul Rudd DNA.
No, he's just Canadian, guys. That's what happens when you have free healthcare. Like you just get taken. You take care of yourself. You just don't.
I mean, we could ask Soda and see what he says, but I'm just.
It's all that poutine.
Yes.
That's exactly what it is.
I mean, there is a secret formula in that gravy and the poutine that's making them stay the same.
Yeah.
It's no. There's no wisdom up.
Yeah, it just preserves him. Yeah, he's the best.
Yeah.
He's my little puppy. I love him so much. He's so
watching that pay-per-view last night, I'm like, I watched this first Video Jew a couple weeks ago. Looks exactly the same. That's how I looked 3 or 4 years ago, because pretty sure it's not.
Yeah, well, I figure like also he's still like in his early mid-20s, so like I think that once he hits 30, like it'll really start to kick in.
The moment he starts growing a beard, maybe that's where the aging will show. Because I know when I was in when I got my
graduate, grow a beard though?
Maybe if he starts growing facial hair, that's when you'll see the aging start. Because I didn't start growing a full beard until I was in my late 20s. So
look at Keanu Reeves. He looks the same, but clean shaven. He does look maybe 5 years older than with a beard.
That's true.
I mean, you got moisturized when the hair is gone. Because otherwise, you do look like you can have a beard for 10 years and you'll still you may need to get carded at a club. But the moment it's gone, you walk into a liquor store, it's like, oh, here you go, sir. Sir.
Sir.
Like, what the?
That
old.
the day that a woman gets
beards, I feel like Rachel could attest to help me with this. Now, one of the places that I always love that I get to wear a mask to now, I went and got my eyebrows done again today. And now the little ladies don't ask me if I want my lip and chin too, because I got my mask done over it. Great.
It's like no one's looking there.
Rachel understands. I'm so glad I can have these conversations.
I hear this a lot with my sister, and when she's talking with her friends on Zoom, I go, oh, wow. Maybe I
So
should
nice.
walk
And
in.
like, there's no one else. Like, no one else is wearing a mask anymore in Florida, right? And like,
Yeah.
so I walk in, like, no one has their mask on in the nail salon, getting their nails and everything. And I'm just like, I walk in, I put it on, and then I'm just like, yep, nope, just an eyebrow wax. We'll get a little dip. We're good. They're like, okay, because you can't see my lip and chin, so you can't ask me if I want my lip and chin done too.
You don't get to see
Jerks.
me.
You don't get to see none of this. None of this. So it's very
Who do
exciting.
you guys want to see? Who do you guys want to see me team up with next year? I'm very curious to hear people's opinions.
I know a lot will be shooting out. Honestly, for me, I have not since the Charlos I've seen like a dominant female team, and I do want to see that again. I mean, seeing how you and Paige worked well off each other, I would love to see you and her team, because you both got the confidence and you definitely both have the attitude to shut anybody down across the table from you. So I would love to see you and Paige as a team.
That would be amazing. And speaking of like Yoda, like she's so tiny. She could literally perch on my shoulder. I absolutely love her. That would be a fun team. I would really like that. The Boston
that would be a
Badass
fun
on the
team.
Switchblade.
Yes.
That would be a good one.
I can already think of team names.
I know. I'm like, ooh, what would we be? Although that's like, somebody was in my chat. I can't remember who it was because it's been forever since I've done my show. But they would constantly come up with like great team names for like whoever my guest was on with, and like being like, oh, this person, this is their team name, and I'm like, this is like, yes, please. It sounds awesome.
I do keep myself up at night wondering what I would call myself if I was ever smart enough to be in the Schmoedown, which is, I also love, it's fun to say smart enough. It's like, I have zero movie trivia knowledge, but like, I like to sit back and be like, what would my fun nickname be? And I can't think of anything, but it's like, that's always been a fun little, or, you know, just a quip to keep me up at night. You know, it's like, as I'm right there on the verge of sleep, and then the thought bubbles just starts and you're just like, what would it be?
I know. You gotta get a nice shiver, just wakes you up. All of a sudden, it's like, wait, why was I thinking of that? And then all of a sudden you look at your phone like, oh shit, I'm 50 videos deep in the Schmoedown. That's why I'm thinking of nicknames.
It's true.
I think my nickname would be the Observer.
Ben the Observer, radio.
Yeah. I like that.
That's good.
That's good. I mean, Allison, since you do say you wake up in the middle of the night thinking of that, what nickname what was one of the nicknames you think would be fun?
I don't know. I thought about something like the Ringer, because I like to wear earrings, and I feel like that's like been like my thing.
Right.
So I always thought like that'd be funny, but then I'm like, I don't know. That means I'm also really good in coming in clutch, and that's also not true. So it would be a lie.
But it's funny if it's not. Like,
right.
Yeah, you just get
like
names
Allison
that
and
doesn't
her
represent
5-point question, and she lost it again. There
like,
she goes.
It's like how Mr. Perfect was not perfect as a wrestler. Like, it was just kind of a joke.
Like, he looks perfect because he can catch that towel behind his back, but then you would see it's like, oh my god, you can't even successfully do a suplex.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, he was very large, so yeah.
Well, yeah, no, yeah, can't blame him for that.
I will say though, I have appreciated being more invested, like being more involved with stuff with the Schmoedown now, because again, texting, you know, talking with my friends who, you know, write questions for the study sessions that I've been able to sit in and hang out in. And it's like, I literally went to go see Dune. And like, as I'm watching this ginormous IMAX film, I'm thinking like, well, this could go under a fantasy sci-fi slice. Yeah. This is also going to be under new releases. I'm pretty sure they have an Oscar Isaac slice in Star Wars.
And definitely a direct, you definitely see this film
there's definitely a Denis slice right there. Like, I'm thinking like of all the different slices that like you could potentially find this movie coming up. And I'm like, that's it. I'm done.
And now that's how you know you're one of us, because you cannot watch movies without being like, oh, that's probably going to be a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you'll have your own personal notebook. You have your own personal notebook, or you'll have like endless flashcards just to like, I need to have this ready. I need to have that ready.
I also knew it was a problem when I started going back and watching movies for like the first time, like this past week. I had a real heavy movie day that I don't recommend to anyone. I don't recommend this order of watching movies. I think I watched Warrior, followed by Parasite, and then the very next day I watched Arrival to start my day.
Girl,
highly don't recommend.
Honestly, I actually love that order. I mean, it's much better than what I'm used to, where I'm just like, oh, wait, you need some comic book questions? Okay, go through every Batman movie before I pass the fuck out.
These all movies I hadn't seen, but like I've been
variety. You're at least getting variety with your.
Those are all great movies, but it's like were you wanting to be in that headspace? Because like
no, I just didn't know what I was getting into. It's like it was literally just like my husband's been like, you need to watch Parasite, you need to watch Arrival. So I'm like, let me watch them within 24 hours of each other. Terrible idea.
Rough.
Don't. 0 out of 10 recommendations. 0 out of 10 stars for doing it in
okay, but really good movies.
Yeah, they are.
Oh no, they were amazing. Like I'm so glad I watched it. And then again, like my thing that I ended. So the day that I started watching Arrival, I ended it with my first ever watch of the original Point Break. So at least I ended on a high note.
Yeah.
But like
you don't need to say the original, because nobody ever acknowledges the fact that it was remade, because those people like, oh god, whoever greenlit that movie to get made needs to get punched in somewhere very uncomfortable.
It's like the same people.
Give me two. It's like your favorite. But it's like what I've been doing now is like these movies are like I've been told to go and watch, or like been suggested forever and ever and ever. Like the first thing I'm doing is like opening up the IMDb and looking to see who the director is, and then I'm like, oh, let me go back and see like what else they've done. And that's how like I got through the rabbit hole of like Joe Johnston films, because I love The Rocketeer. And so I watched that before I watched Warrior, by the way. So I started on a high note and then it just went and
Rocketeer is so much fun.
I love The Rocketeer.
But I didn't know it was directed by Joe Johnston, right? So then as I'm looking up that it's directed by Joe Johnston, I'm also then seeing Joe Johnston did the Captain America, the First Avenger.
Yep.
And you can see from understanding that, I then think about back to watching that movie, and I'm like, I feel like if he had the technology that he had with Captain America and the First Avenger, that's what would have where like that's what he was trying to do with the Rocketeer, which still made a great movie, but didn't have the means to do as grand of a film as Captain America. You see so many similarities in like the art direction and the editing and things like that. I think are
even some of the characters he writes out. Like you can see some of them are
very thematically similar.
Yeah.
I mean, they're literally both they're both punching Nazis at the end of the day, and that's all I care.
Right. Yeah. In different ways, shape, or form. And
Leo, the Pagemaster.
Yes.
100%. That is one of my favorite movies of all time.
So good.
It's just so good. It's like one of my favorite rainy day movies.
Yeah.
It's one of the rare films where I can see live action and animation actually work together. And I like how the animation is so different. They're not trying to make it realistic. It's like, no, you're about to be into a different world than your own. So I like the fact that Macaulay Culkin's avatar is animated and he's interacting with these books. I love the fact that was like at the time where as a kid, I did nothing but just go to a library and read books. So Pagemaster was my jam.
Yeah, I read like crazy as a kid, but like I also like Macaulay Culkin was coming off of Home Alone 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like
underrated performance in The Good Son. Like
oh my god, you just want to drop kick into a lake.
Just lets him go.
Yeah.
Just
Dead Eyes.
Spoilers, by the way, if anyone hasn't seen it. Sorry.
No, screw that. The movie's over 25 years old.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I know about it, so I don't care.
Yeah, and
like if you ever ask that question,
it's not like it's a Usual Suspects type of spoiler. Like
right.
But that movie, they show it in the trailer.
Yeah, true. That's one thing you realize. The difference of that's one thing I loved about getting involved with the movie trailer Schmoedown. When I'm looking at trailers before then, where everyone's all like, "Oh, the trailer's gonna spoil everything." Have you not looked at movie trailers from movies from the 90s, 80s, and 70s? They will give you the ending before you even see it.
I have friends who literally are always 30 minutes late to walk into a movie because they don't want to watch trailers. Like they know when the movie starts, or at least wait like the 15, 20 minutes to go in, because he's like, I don't fuck with trailers. Like I don't want to know.
Alex Marzonia does not watch trailers. We will go see
movies Sean, I've seen My Girl. Sorry.
We will literally go to see movies like on premiere nights at when movie theaters were open, we would go all the time, and he would just be chilling in the lobby waiting for the trailers to end, and then he'd come in because he likes walking into movies with a clean slate. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, that's fucking dedication. Like, how do you avoid all of the trailers that get posted everywhere. Like, it's just.
And then the theaters have now literally just put in like within the first 20 minutes of the film where you're just going like, okay, is it over yet? You've got to be shitting me. God damn it.
Oh, screw that. There are times, literally, more times than not, I will be sitting there watching the trailers, getting really excited for all of them to come out. And then like the movie starts and I'm like, oh, what am I watching again?
Yeah, what just happened? Where did this come from?
What film did I pay to go see?
I just saw this great MCU trailer and now I'm like, oh, I'm watching this drama. Not great energy to come into.
Yeah, different energy, different vibe.
Very, very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the reason Sean is asking if I've seen My Girl is he's a part of these study sessions where the running joke is everything makes me fucking cry, is what he's trying to do.
Oh, I cry at everything. I cried.
I'm loving that I'm not alone in this.
Oh no, I am so emotional, which is so funny because like in my 20s, I was like, I'm a badass chick. Nothing can make me cry.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, now I'm watching Beauty Shop and like getting all emotional when Queen Latifah comes down and like her beauty shop's all remade over and everybody's like,
all the girls are like right there. You get Alicia's. I do. That's a good moment.
Every time, every single time. Yeah.
So yes, Sean asked me if I've seen My Girl. I think we can add that to the list of things that makes Allison cry.
Okay, fuck you. If you don't cry at My Girl, get out of here. Like,
get out. You don't belong.
Unless you were a boy that just didn't like Macaulay Culkin after Home Alone 2, then you're kind of like,
as a grown-ass adult, watching My Girl is very different than when you were a kid. Yeah. Like, now you have, like, emotional maturity, and, like, you're like, oh, my God, this is heartbreaking.
Oh, no, yeah. I look back at that, and I'm like, 7-year-old me was a dick. I'm like, I was literally in Macaulay Culkin's shoes. Outside of getting stung by bees, I was literally in Macaulay Culkin's shoes, pining over a girl. I'm like, how can I not click with this kid? And I'm going like,
he can't see without his glasses. Like with that whole.
Then you have the father who just can't grip with death. I'm like, you are an undertaker. You should understand what your daughter's going through.
Oh my God. I do love Jamie Lee Curtis and Dan Aykroyd as parents. Like, we just don't get. Like there are some like movie parents that I'm like, oh, you guys are the best. Them and the was it Emma Stone's from Easy A?
Oh, yes, the J.K. Simmons. Is J.K. No, is it J.K.?
No, it's Tucci.
That's it. That's Stanley Tucci. J.K. Simmons is Juno. Juno is J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, Stanley Tucci. Okay. I think it was. No, I'm thinking Lisa Kudrow, but she was the principal in Easy A.
Yeah, she was the principal. No, she was. Was she the principal or was she the advisor?
Our teacher. Oh yeah, she has a supervisor. She has a position at the school.
The truth.
Was it Cedric?
I could point her out of a lineup, but I can't. Oh no.
What?
Oh, sorry. Something popped up on my screen, and I thought that I lost you guys.
No,
sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm at an Airbnb in Seattle, and like, I didn't know if like the Wi-Fi had just failed and was like.
Is it Patricia Clarkson? Yeah.
Thank you.
That's what I'm looking on IMDb right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Dude, that whole cast is just fucking perfect. It makes me laugh so hard.
That's
such a good flick.
Cast in Easy A, the cast in Juno. I would even say the cast in The Edge of 17. Great casting choices, honestly.
Yes.
I don't know. Michael Cera just like has a face that I just want to punch.
You know what's so funny? I feel that exact same way about the other Franco, not James.
Dave Franco.
Dave Franco. I call him the other Franco, and he just has a face that I just want to punch, and I don't know why.
It's kind of
such a punch of.
He's got a punchable face.
It's one of the reasons why I love his role in the 21 and 22 Jump Street, because he has that punchable face, and so when all this crap's happening, I'm like, dude, you kind of had it coming.
That's fair.
I can't stand the other Franco. That's how. I do agree. I think Edge of 17 though, with the Haley Steinfeld and Woody Harrelson. I 100% agree.
It's such a good movie.
Okay, I think at this point we may need to bring things down because we are definitely over the hour point, and we did lose John earlier over internet. And last thing we want, Rachel, is for your internet to go out while we're still chatting with you. So I think wrapping it up, guys.
Can we give a round of applause for Ryan's internet actually sticking through the whole thing?
Yeah.
Like Ryan's the only one.
My brother actually bought a good router, so this works.
Don't jinx it, Ryan. God.
Yeah.
We lost him.
Too early. I celebrated too early. That's on me. No, but other than that, this was great to have you on with us. Even if we didn't talk a lot about Schmoedown, it was still just great having you on here. Just your takeaways from the Schmoedown. I mean, I know for some of our final thoughts here. I mean, at least my final thoughts. I said this. I remember saying to Drew, like watching her was just like a great fucking experience. Just seeing her character grow in the Schmoedown. Even though you were like very short, your season was very, very, very short though. I still say, even just looking at your takeaways, how you didn't try to let the matches get to you after when it was all over. That's I won't say genuine. It's not only just genuine, but it's a great mark of just you as a person, because yeah, you go in there and just like when it's over, if you lose, yeah, you'll beat yourself up about it. But afterwards, it's like what you said, this is movie trivia. We shouldn't take it that seriously, even though we'd like to. But it's still great to have that. It's still
always great to
us.
see someone who's having fun with it. I think that's where, I think that's where it kind of comes to play for me, is like when you have the competitors who are super serious about it and then get all super pissy with losing or whatever, and like, coming at people and stuff like that. But it's like at the end of the day, it's just like, as long as it's just watching you, it's like, I think it's great about with you too. Like you were talking about your losses, like you're still having fun with it. And I think that's kind of the most important aspect of it, is there's people who do these fantastic character work. They're not great at, they may not be great at trivia, but like their work is just out of this world, that it's fun to watch. And I think that's amazing with how much fun you have with it. And you're playing really hard fucking players. So really you are great at trivia.
Yeah. It's just
you
what
are
you're
like
paired up against.
John Roca to his 5. Like that's not like, yeah, it's a loss. Like you took one of the greatest, which still pains me to say, but you still take one of the greatest to his 5 point. Like that's not a slouch move by any means whatsoever.
Thank you. It's always nice to hear. Because it's like, that's the stuff that you have to like tell yourself to be like, to like not beat yourself up about it. Be like, yeah, it was a really tough match. It was a really tough match. And it's like, but you still lost. But it's nice to have that spoken back to you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Observer, Ben, I know you've been very quiet, so how about...
No, I've been enjoying this. This has been great. I echo everything you said, everything Alex said. Rachel, you're so fun to watch, and I can't wait to see what comes next for your next season.
Thanks. I'm really excited. Thank you for having me on. I mean, Ryan, you should know, like, any show I'm on, unless you keep me on the rails, I'm like, and we're taking this train way off track.
I'm fine with the train going off track on our show. As I mean, Ben knows in the past when myself, him, or John, or we have anybody else talking about Schmoedown, it diverges like three out of 5 times anyway. So I'm
the tangents are real. And yes, Leo, We're Heels is definitely a moment. I was so bummed that they cut that out of the version that got released on
I think
YouTube.
we're not seeing one of the earlier versions. I'm like, I see that, and then all of a sudden I go back to rewatch it. It's gone. I'm going, why the fuck would you get rid of that?
I was gonna pull like an Andre 2000 moment with that. Like I was gonna come on with like sky high stripper heels, wearing like a t-shirt with heels and like heel earrings. Like I was like, I'm gonna lean in hard to this. And then I saw that they cut it out, and I was like, damn it, Harlov, let me play with this. It was so funny. But yeah, no, everybody loved that. That was like such a moment. But that's more of a Ben moment, I feel like, than a me moment. I just happened to be sitting next to him when we said it. And also I was still right. Let's just put it out there. Because that happened during the Butcher Boys
match. Yes.
Match. Yeah. And so
yeah, it was during when you were asking one of your questions, and then I think you guys had asked for a repeat, but they didn't hear you. Or no, it was like when the Butcher Boys were asking questions, we're getting asked their questions. You guys were just doing like some back and forth, like like punches
between the questions. Between the questions, we were doing it, and then something happened, and I honestly can't remember the inciting moment. I just remember the moment when it happened and just being like, oh God, this is gonna like people are gonna take this and run with it.
I love it.
Yeah, that was a classic moment from. Is that last season?
That was season 7.
Last season. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
I know. So much time has gone by. I'm like, I don't know anymore. I'm like movie release dates were an issue before, and now I'm like, I don't know what happened between 2018 and today. Like, honestly.
Well, then it's like now movie release dates are like, well, it was it released on streaming, or then it got released.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
You
know what? Not my problem to handle. Not a question.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Don't have to write the
sorry,
question.
sorry, PJ and PLD. That's all on you. Congrats.
PLD loves it. He'll complain about it, but he fucking loves it.
Oh yeah, we've had numerous talks about like the legitimacy of questions and like the wording in them. Because like I'm such a stickler to like answering the question that is asked of me and not what the intent of the question is. Because I'm like, look, words matter. Use them properly.
Yeah.
And if you're asking for this, like this wording that you have here is asking for this answer, not the answer that you put. So if you want whatever answer you want, you need to be able to ask the question in a way that answer is the only way that you can answer it.
100%.
Yeah.
And
So that's got me in trouble. It's fine.
This season has shown that wording is everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what is I mean, actually thinking about it, your first match that you had with Devon, of course, actually it's funny. Your debuting match was also Chance's debuting match. Yep. Remember, you got a Disney question on Aladdin, and you were very specific, like regarding like the question of when the genie turns a blue into an animal.
Yeah, and I was like, "Which one?" And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "He turns into 3 animals." Like I don't know what you want. And they're like, "The one he ends up as," and I was like, "All right."
Yeah. I guess it definitely just goes to show that you knew the movie back and forth, where they're just like, oh, what does he turn into? To a casual fan, elephant. You come in because knowing the movie back and forth, you're like, which ones? And the look of it's almost like you can almost sense a look of fear coming out. Like, wait, what now?
No, well, I think Chance was kind of like, what? And Kalinowski was like, wait, there's more than one answer? And I'm like, yes, there is. Disney animation is not just for children. And I love it. I love that I got a Disney question first off because I was like, and everyone's like, "Oh shit!" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, don't step to me with Disney. I will school you."
And then like, you showed them the exhibition matches with Disney and Pixar. You freaking kill.
I loved the first one. Chance sadly took the second one because I got like 3 movie release dates questions, and I'm like, ask me the important things. Ask me voices. Ask me. Plot points. Like this is Disney. And so he sadly took the second one. So we are 100% having a rubber match next season. And I kind of like the way that worked out because I've already sent in my demands and I'm like, look, I either want a tiara or a Disney belt. Like,
which one can you bring me? Let's do this.
And I can't wait to see it.
I'm kind of hoping it's a tiara so I can wear it for the rest of my matches. Like,
I would love that.
Whoever accompanies you has to dress up like. I hope Christian. If there's a rubber match, I kind of want to have Christian on desk and have someone come up dressed as a blue fairy just to rub it in his face.
Oh.
Or I'll just dress up as a blue fairy. Yeah,
that'd be great.
Or Makuga comes in dressed as a blue fairy. That would be amazing. Yeah, I
love that.
That's another thing I love about the Schmoedown is like when you have passions, like people share them. And they're like, oh, yeah, let's do this exhibition match or let's do this one. Or like, oh, I didn't know that you liked this. And it's like, let's go.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
well, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us, Rachel.
Absolutely.
Do you have anything else to you want to shout out, plug, anything exciting happening?
I am going to be sporadically unavailable basically until after Spectacular. So if you message me or tweet at me, like I will get to it eventually. I will just be cruising around the Caribbean, and then I'll be at Spectacular. So please, again, come up and say hi. We will be doing the Zoe's Extraordinary Christmas recap. Hopefully, I'm really hoping to pull in the creator, Austin. I would love to pull in some more of the cast that we've spoken with and become friends with. I'm really hoping to get Mandy in there because Mandy Moore is like, I love her so much. Her choreography is like stunning. And then afterwards, depending on what happens with Sixth Man, I'm going to be looking into restarting Movies, Music, and Mayhem. So we'll see what happens with that. But keep tuned and keep following Schmoedown and have fun with it, guys. Just be kind to each other. Get your shots. Be kind. Wear your mask. Wash your hands.
I got boosted yesterday. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Me too. Me too. That made me flat.
I think I have another month on hand. I think I have maybe another month and a half before I qualify for that booster.
Because it's what, like 9 months or 6 months?
I thought it
was 6 months.
I thought it was
6 months. Yeah,
6 months after the second shot, right? Yeah. Okay. I have like another. Oh no, I can do it. I can do it now. No, I have to wait like 2 weeks.
Oh no, wait. Now thinking about, I have next year for the booster shot. Yeah.
Cool.
Very
good. Yeah, this is fun, and I love you guys, and I'm so glad to like actually meet and talk with Allison because you're my favorite now.
Oh, thank you.
We'll be friends.
Exciting.
I
love this.
Friends and shit. It'll be great. But
thanks, Ken and Ryan, for helping me make so many friends.
Right? It's just so much fun, and I got to hang out with Ryan and Ben. You're always just a pleasure to see and hang out with. I love you guys.
Yeah.
I love this community. It's the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely.
And Ryan, go ahead, Ben.
I'm going to say, do you have anything to plug?
No. Do I have anything? No.
No.
Just keep watching everyone.
I was like, Ryan, do you have anything to plug?
Okay.
Well, other than being on Mount Schmoedown, people can also find me on the Schmoes of the North Network, recapping the matches with Ben on Sunday or whenever I'm pulled away from whatever I'm doing. And then also anybody out there watching or listening, if you're wrestling fans, I do co-host a wrestling podcast with the sinister James Shimo from the First Class League. It's called Wrestling Ramblings and Rages Podcast. We're going to be recording an episode like next week, so it should be available on Spotify, Apple, Podbean, and Anchor, wherever you find it.
And I'll be a guest as soon as my shit calms down, and we're going to recap Jericho Cruise and all fun stuff.
Actually, we are planning to recap Jericho Cruise. I'll ask to see if he'd love to have you on.
Well, when? Because boat stuff. We'll talk about this later. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
I got it.
Allison, how about you? Do you have anything to plug?
You can find me on Twitter at Allison Salamoni, on Instagram, Allison F. Salamoni. I just recorded with Mr. Christopher Anthony Lopez for his podcast For Chris's Sake. So that I think is coming out next. I think he said Thursday. We went into a very deep dive of Scooby-Doo Monsters Unleashed. So you don't want to miss that. I'm so glad he asked me to be on it. So, yeah, that's it. And I'm just kind of hanging around. If you want to hang with me, just let me know. I'm always available to make friends. What's better than making friends in your mid-30s on the internet?
Oh my God, nothing's
Practically
better.
nothing else.
Nothing's better.
All right, for Ben, finish this off, man. Anything else that you got?
And you guys can find me at my Twitter at Ken_Rainey every Saturday here on Mount Schmoedown, also on Saturday Get Ready. Every Monday on Recapping the Past, where me and my friends recap shows from the past. We've been doing Doctor Who, so we're going to be doing Doctor Who Season 8 on Monday, and Tuesdays on Shooting the Breeze. And that's about it, I think, yes.
Okay.
All
right, so wrapping up for everybody, for Rachel, for Allison, for John, for Ben, and myself, thank you all for coming, for watching us live or watching us on the rewatch. Like the video, give us a comment, share amongst any of your friends who are fans of Schmoedown. But beyond that,
subscribe.
Thanks for joining us. Yes, subscribe. So signing out. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, guys.